Get ready for The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's dedicated update show. Events, businesses, and people. Anything and anyone causing a ripple in the community. And now, let's dive in to The Splash Live.
Good morning and welcome to The Splash Live. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban. This is your live daily news and talk show all about all things Greater West Bloomfield. And today we got plenty to go over on the show. Diana, beautiful Thursday morning, just another day after today left. And we'll be through this week and already looking like it's going to be a beautiful morning outside today. But you can find us all throughout the community on Comcast Channel 15 and on AT&T Channel 99, as well as on the web on our website on CivicCenterTV.com. Find us also on social media on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, as well as on YouTube at Civic Center TV, and also listen to us every single day on the radio, 89.3 Lakes FM, as well as on lakesfm.com. I said it before, Diane. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day outside, but give us the forecast. What's it going to look like today and over the next couple of days?
So today, Tyler, as you said, it is going to be another beautiful day. We're expecting a little bit lower temperature than yesterday, but nevertheless, still sunny with some clouds, so it's partly cloudy. We're looking at highs of 78 and 80, and the lows of 59. Going into Friday, Tyler, another beautiful Friday, just like last Friday, with the highs of 80 and the lows of 66. As we go through Saturday, we might have some showers on Saturday with the highs of 83 and the lows of 64, but nevertheless, it's not going to be that bad on Saturday either. It's going to be it might be just a little showers. I hope it doesn't. I hope the weather changes as we go through Saturday, but we can definitely still enjoy our Friday.
Yeah, looking like it's going to be a beautiful end to the week, and those showers that may happen on later on in the day throughout the rest of the week do look like they're going to be later on in the day or into the evening. So nonetheless, beautiful days ahead here in Greater West Bloomfield. Taking a look at what's making news today across the Greater West Bloomfield community, a bridge closing is underway in Keego Harbor. We'll give you your alternative routes in just a few minutes and tell you about why that is happening in the heart of the lakes today. The West Bloomfield School District is getting ready for the first day of school with less than 2 weeks before the beginning of the school year. We'll give you the latest on some of the things being done at schools all throughout the district to get ready for the 2023-2024 school year. As we think about the trial of the Oxford High School shooter and some of the details that have come out of late, we're going to talk to Carrie Krawiec from the Birmingham Maple Clinic. Dayan Chaaban will converse with her about the importance of seeking mental health help for young kids and for teenagers, especially if they're navigating some hardships while in school or in other social environments. That's going to be happening this morning. We'll talk to Carrie Krawiec and get the details on that so that you can know what to look for this school year, what to do to keep up with your kids and keep them mentally healthy as well. Then, the Greater West Bloomfield area has plenty of prolific athletes making headlines all across the U.S. in a variety of different sports, especially on the gridiron. Matt Catoni from our sports team will join us to give us the latest news on guys like this guy, Matthew Judon with the New England Patriots, and more from across our community. We're just a couple of weeks away from the grand reopening of West Bloomfield Parks Connect, their local senior center, at its new location. We'll give you all the details on their ribbon cutting and open house event and where this new location is going to be and how you can enjoy all their services. Plus, this weekend, get outside and play at the Recreation Activity Center at West Bloomfield Parks and check out a person's story at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, both over the weekend. Also, the Oakland County Sheriff's Office is going throughout the community with their Canine Comfort Unit to provide comfort and some peace to individuals in need in our community. Also, the Oakland County Clerk's Office is warning of bogus tax collection scams being mailed to residents all throughout the county over the past several weeks. We'll take a look at what those scam mailings look like, what they entail, and how you can address those with the Oakland County Clerk's Office to make sure you are not getting scammed. Plus, as we go into the final weeks of the summer season and as we go into the fall and kids begin getting back online more often for school purposes, how can you protect your children's emails, social media, and more from being exposed to content that maybe is not appropriate for their age group or appropriate at all? There are protections that are provided to you through the state government here, through the Secretary of State. We'll give you the details on how you can access those for free, and of course, more news and information from across the Greater West Bloomfield area. That's all coming up next. Stay tuned. You're watching and listening to The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
When you have a gambling problem, you have a money problem. Don't let your gambling cause you financial hardship. If you or someone you love is struggling with gambling, we can help. Get free confidential counseling and win your life back. Learn more at michigan.gov/problemgambling.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban. Now, if you're living in Keego Harbor, particularly around the Willow Beach Bridge area, today navigating throughout your community may be a little bit tougher, especially between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. The Willow Beach Bridge, car bridge, will be closed today, and it's already closed. It closed at 8 a.m., and it's going to be closed through to 5 p.m. today in order for the Michigan state government to do a structural inspection that is regularly regulated and conducted across bridges, municipal and statewide, all across the state on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year basis. That's happening in Keego Harbor, so expect some detours to be set up throughout your community today. And of course, this is also going to help to limit some of that through traffic that may be attempting to get through Keego Harbor and avoid that Orchard Lake Road traffic, although it's against the law in Keego Harbor at this point in time. So, structural bridge inspection by the state government, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., the closure of Willow Beach Car Bridge today. Your alternative routes are going to be to take Willow Beach and Bulwer. They'll have to enter and exit their neighborhood area from Orchard Lake Road. Residents of Park Circle, Kenrick, Atlas, Brock, and Andre will also have to enter and exit from Cass Lake Road. There will be no through traffic opportunities because this bridge is closed. So once again, if you're on Willow Beach and Bulwer, you'll have to enter and exit your neighborhood area, enter and exit your streets from Orchard Lake Road exclusively, and those on Park Circle, Kenrick, Atlas, Brock, and Andre will have to enter and exit their roads from Cass Lake Road. There will be no way for you to go through your neighborhood and out to Orchard Lake. You'll have to go to Cass Lake, turn right onto Orchard Lake, and navigate through that way. And of course, with the detours that are in place for the Orchard Lake Road traffic, that could make your commute a little bit longer. So if you haven't left to go from point A to point Z, wherever you are at this moment in time, or will be going today in the Keego Harbor area, keep this closure in mind. But again, only going to be temporary unless something else pops up in that inspection that causes a further closure of the bridge, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on this Thursday in Greater West Bloomfield. Other things being prepared in West Bloomfield that aren't really obstructing our roads or anywhere else are at our schools, our teachers, our educators, our administrators, getting ready for the beginning of the school year, just 2 weeks away from Monday, August 28th, the first day of school here in West Bloomfield Township in the West Bloomfield School District. They're preparing to get the kids back in the classroom in the coming weeks, and in the meantime, getting their classrooms and getting their classroom spaces ready to go. That includes outside, just down the road from our studio at Green Media Center on the campus of Chico Elementary. Over at Doherty Elementary, we have a couple of pictures here, getting their sign ready. They changed the sign out there saying read, rest, and play, as you can see on the screen on Civic Center TV, on our website, and on YouTube if you're listening on 89.3 Lakes FM at the moment. Read, rest, and play. The school year is almost underway, and we also have a picture here. Here is Administrative Assistant Jody Ostrowski and kindergarten teacher Nicole Samuelo getting the sign outside ready yesterday as the kids are getting ready to come by and families are driving by. They're also repainting the sign too, getting that all nice and pretty for the first day of school. Speaking of getting the schools all nice and pretty, the custodial staff hard at work next door to us at Chico Elementary. We see them there every single day. They're there morning, noon, and night along with us. next door to Green Media Center, getting the school ready, and looks squeaky clean inside Chico, and all ready for the kids to show up on the first day of school. Again, that is August 28th, Diane. And this is a really busy time of the year. It's a nervous time of the year for the kids. They don't want to get done with summer. They don't want to go back into the grind of the day-to-day at school. But this is crunch time for our educators, for our administrators, and our custodial staffs. And from the looks of it, they're doing a great job in the last few weeks before the school year begins.
That is true, Tyler, and big props to them for all the work that they're doing. I heard that they've been working all through summer, not only trying to fix the school and making it look better, they've been also doing some work on the curriculum. They've been also working on adding a lot more books into the libraries, changing the way, doing better education-wise, academic-wise, as well as having all this, making all the schools look beautiful. So all props to them. Thanks to them for teaching our kids and for putting all this time and working hard all through summer while the kids have been just playing around and sleeping and resting, I guess.
Yeah, our educators hard at work all throughout the summer, getting our schools ready, evaluating their educational plans, their lesson plans, getting them ready for the fall, and even going as far as to come in on their time when they, in some cases, depending on how they have structured their pay over the course of the year, may not even be getting paid to come into the classroom, to come into places like Doherty or Gretschko, as we saw with the 8,000 different books they organized in their new library space over there just a couple weeks ago, and at other locations. Certainly we think of our athletics coaches doing their preseason coaching already, the football team beginning on Monday, and other fall sports already underway as well, doing great work to get our schools ready for the beginning of the school year. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, as we get ready to send our kids back to school, we can't help but think about the ongoing Miller hearing trial for the Oxford High School shooter and some of the warning signs that popped up over the years, allegedly based on the information in that case, that make it come to mind. What should we do about our kids' mental health? How do we keep track of our kids' mental health? How do we help them if we see that they're in need or they're telling us they're in need of help, and what these sort of interventions actually do to improve their mental health and better their outcomes down the line? Carrie Krawiec, our good friend from the Birmingham Maple Clinic, will join Dayan Chaaban after this break to talk about that and more. Stay tuned. You're watching and listening to The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
The Marshbank Music Series is still underway, which means there's still time to bring a chair or blanket to enjoy a show on the lawn with your friends and family. Stop by Marshbank Park August 2nd and August 9th between 5:30 and 8:30 p.m. to enjoy WB Park's Marshbank Music Series. Go to wbparks.org for more info. Rock on! And now, back to The Splash, live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live. This is Dayan Chaaban alongside Tyler Kieft. We have a therapist today joining us, therapist Carrie Krawiec from the Birmingham Maple Clinic. Thank you so much for joining us today, Carrie.
Thank you for having me.
So Carrie, as I don't know if you've been following, but I know that everybody's been following the Crumbly case, and we've heard some recent allegations stating that the teenager had been suffering for a very long time, and his pleas for mental health has been ignored by his parents and by his educators. So what we would like to talk about today, Carrie, is the importance of mental health and the importance of watching out for these signs. Like we cannot help but think for ourselves, what if these signs were not ignored and he actually seeks mental health? Would that have stopped him? So what are signs that educators or even parents should look out for?
I think adolescence and teenage years are a really hard time for both parents and educators because there's sort of multiple factors facing young people. On one side, some teens' behaviors may be concerning to parents and maybe just simple teenage issues, whereas other behaviors are a sign of mental health. And so some parents may overreact to minor changes in their kids' mood or behavior, whereas other parents underreact to significant changes in their kids' mood and behavior. And it's hard to distinguish what is normal teenage and what is a problem. So certainly parents, I always say, if you kind of know the who, what, where, when, and why of your children's lives, and that really should start through their early years and as they approach adulthood, but who are they talking to? What are they talking about? What are they doing with these people? When are they doing it? Why are they doing it? Really familiarizing yourself with your kids' inner and outer world will help you to know the difference between what is a legitimate concern and what is perhaps normal teenage mood or behavior.
Understanding. So what you're trying to say is they should try to communicate with them before even that happens. Try to get into them. Try to tell them that it's okay if you talk to us about your challenges. So, therapist Carrie, how can these parents, like, what are advices you give to these parents to communicate better with their children, to prep them or to make them feel more comfortable talking to them about whatever challenges they're trying to face in school or mentally or psychologically?
Sure. I mean, I think first and foremost, for a parent to stay compassionate and curious. Of course, our kids may tell us something that is concerning to us, but if we become emotionally dysregulated with anxiety or anger, we will easily shut our children, our teen children down. If we also are confused or act in just disbelief that we can't believe that this is a concern, they will also believe we're out of touch. And so to try to modify our own mood and emotions, even if we're concerned, and maintain compassion and curiosity, ask questions, certainly, especially because we're trying to create emerging adults. Have your children offer their own suggestions before you interject your own problem solving advice. How have they considered solving the problem? What tools or strategies have they tried to apply to their problems? And then ask, may I offer some of my own ideas about what you can do next, as opposed to just jumping in and solving the problem. Certainly, if there are behaviors, perhaps hanging out with delinquent peers or getting involved sexually too early, or any kind of aggression or bullying, or maybe even substance use, parents may have to apply consequences or set limits or change family rules or expectations. I think one thing parents could do that they don't often do is take time to acknowledge, say, something that's going on here is problematic, and we as parents have to apply a consequence or change some way our household is run, but not to necessarily sweep in fast and furious with a consequence right away, but that we are going to take time to think about it, to consult with other adults, to consult with other parents about how to respond, but just trust us, there will be a response.
Understanding. That's a great advice, Dr. K. Thank you so much. In your line of work, what do you think are some of what do you see are some of the challenges for these teenagers seeking help or asking their parents to seek mental help professionally?
Sure. So I think there are sort of two sides of things. Some kids are very stressed about their changes in adolescence and adulthood. They're plagued by social pressures, and they're kind of in this in-between state. They want more and more independence. Perhaps their parents aren't giving them, but are also overwhelmed by the things they're experiencing. And whereas other kids are stressed, by new requirements and sort of like new expectations as far as school and grades and perhaps their future, feeling a lot of pressure about choosing college or, getting into the right place. So it feels like everything feels kind of like a high intensity competition, whether socially or academically. And then that can create a lot of pressure for kids. Some become sort of crushed under that pressure and feel sort of hopeless, insecure, depressed, whereas others feel panicked under that pressure and feel on edge, overwhelmed, anxious, high strung, difficulty sleeping. And so we're seeing both sides of those things. And academic success isn't everything, but children who do better in school as far as getting A's and B's or as an indicator are also less likely to get involved with delinquent peers, are less likely to have substance abuse or substance abusing friends, less likely to become sexually active at early ages. So grades are an indicator of a healthy student and a healthy young person. They're not everything, and the pressure that kids feel, like I said, to compete both academically and socially is a real burden.
Understandable. Apart from academically, like even I know with the Crumbly case, it's a little bit different. He was trying to suffer. I don't know if you've read the notes, but he was suffering from something darker than this. So he mentioned in one of his journals that he was going through something dark, and he couldn't help but submit to the darkness. So that's very sad. And one of the psychologists in the trial testified that it's a part of a neglected childhood. Now, based on the trial or based on these testimonials, what do you think? How do you think the early intervention could have helped? Like, I know we're just assuming, but how early intervention? How does it help, and how might have it helped Crumbly?
Sure. I want to say that I am not more familiar with this case than the general public. So what I see is really just what we see on the news and media. And I can't really weigh in on any specific diagnosis or anything specifically related to him, but certainly positive parent involvement is a factor in raising a successful child. And what that means is activities together, social time together. I mean, it doesn't have to be so big as a vacation, but time spent together as a family, enjoying activities, shared activities together. Again, like I said, parental monitoring and supervision means, like I said, that awareness of who, what, where, when, and why of your kid's life, both inside and externally. Are there peers? Are there what are the sort of the content of conversation? What are people talking about? I think parents can have a challenge too, because some kids may seem calm, cool, and collected on the surface, and even despite stresses, and that may be a relief to some parents. But a child who is calm in the face of perhaps some stressful things, which high school and middle school are stressful for young people, it may actually be a sign that things are actually not well, that they're missing social cues, that they're not engaging appropriately socially. So you would expect some variation in a teen child's moods and emotions and reactivity. And if they're too plain, they're sort of under responsive. That may also be a source of concern that parents miss. And parents are probably more likely to intervene when a child is being very obviously on edge or stressed out or tearful or very reactive or preoccupied with peer issues. And so a parent may be unfortunately comforted by someone who seems on the surface okay, but those child also still need their parents' support, even if they seem to be managing okay.
So, Carrie, you mentioned something about the educators realizing those early warning signs, whether it's academically or based on their performance. What advice do you give to educators as a therapist? What advice do you give for educators just to watch out for these warning signs? And do you believe like educators do have a role in trying to communicate with the parents, tell them that there's something wrong, and trying to work together to find solutions for that struggling child?
Sure. Educators are under a lot of demands. So I think actually perhaps the responsibility is on parents to maintain an open relationship with their children's school, whether that means volunteering for activities, participating in PTO, maintaining relationships or developing groups like, book clubs or something with other parents. Parents should be sort of finding ways to maintain that communication with the school. Again, that kind of fits again with positive parent involvement and monitoring and supervision. I mean, of course, then educators welcoming that from parents would of course be something that would be a helpful thing educators could do. Certainly educators would have some idea of, you know, maybe things that are going on in the school day outside of a parent's awareness, who's hanging out with who, or, you know, have friends or peer groups change. But I think an educator, it would be very complicated for them to address every parent every time those shifts happen, especially in adolescent years. But I think that if a parent develops a behavior of including the school as part of one of their touch points, and the school was open, that would certainly be an avenue to address things and give parents more information and more data about their own kid.
That's so true. We want to again give props to our educators for working so hard throughout the summer and during the school year to provide the best education possible for their children. And I do agree with you. Parents should watch out for these warning signs and try to just lay off the work a little bit and try to be with your children. Teenagerity is a very hard phase to go through, and it's even harder to tell if there are warning signs or not, because teenagers go through stuff. It's hormonal stuff and changes, so we cannot really tell what's really going on. Now, for teenagers or for adolescents who cannot access or do not have access to a mental health care provider or a mental therapist, what resources do they have? What advices do you want to give them to the adolescents if you're talking to them directly?
Sure. I mean, certainly if you can advocate for yourself, if you think there's a need and you tell your parents or some other close caregiver or other adult, if you strike out with your parents, perhaps try another adult to see if you can enlist an adult to help advocate and support for you. Now, adolescents are able to engage in treatment for a small number of sessions, perhaps before their parents' consent. But of course, you need, if you needed payment or insurance or things like that. I mean, I think parents, if you have questions, if your child is asking and you're not sure if it's rises to the level of needing it, go to your own pediatrician or doctor. And doctors now are asking these questions, which is great. So well visits are coming up. And so if an adolescent has an appointment with a doctor and you're not sure it's the right doctor, at least that doctor has information to guide you to the right place, or perhaps communicate with your parents about what they're seeing. I think of like even just early childhood stuff, and we've talked about this during COVID and other things, like go to the helpers. Like if a teen child knows, okay, maybe I can't exactly talk to my parents, use an educator, a coach, a religious leader. Like there are helpers in your community, and someone will be able to at least advocate for you and help you develop the ways you need to communicate to your own parents to access the help that you need.
Carrie, thank you so much for these valuable advices, whether it's for the parents or educators. I know that these are for some people it is common knowledge to go and seek help, but for other people it may not be that common, because coming from I'm 30, and back in the day, like when I was younger, it wasn't that common to go ahead and seek mental health, because it's okay, you're going through struggles, we all go through struggles, so it wasn't okay. So it's such a valuable advice that you're giving to these parents and to these children and educators. Just to wrap this up, Carrie, what are your last advices on how important it is to seek mental health care for these younger generations, whether it's teenager or adolescent, or just a younger generation in middle school?
Sure, absolutely. It can be both preventative and proactive. I mean, part of what the phase of adolescence is this bridge between childhood and adulthood. And I mean, ultimately, the goal is that we have communities filled with healthy, productive adults. And addressing these issues early and often, like I said, can help prevent worse problems like delinquency in school and poor peers, substance abuse, all things that would exacerbate mental health issues in adulthood can really be addressed and prevented with proper care through childhood and adolescence.
Therapist Carrie Krawiec from the Birmingham Maple Clinic, thank you again for joining us. Thank you for your valuable insights and advices and time. Thank you again for joining us. to everybody watching us, we're going to go for a quick break. Stay tuned. We're coming back with a lot more news from the greater West Bloomfield and all of our community. We'll see you right after this break.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiver.
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. I'm Tyler Kieft, alongside Dayan Chaaban. Plenty of Lakers athletes present and past making news on the gridiron and across the board in the sports world recently. And joining us to talk about those Lakers, particularly those on the gridiron making headlines this week, is Matt Gattoni, Civic Center TV sports reporter and your new color commentator for West Bloomfield Lakers football coming up in just a few weeks. Matt, good morning.
Hi, Tyler. Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you on to talk about a few different Lakers that are making headlines. Of course, let's start at the top level, at the NFL. One of the best Lakers of all time, the only Laker to have his jersey up in the rafters at Lakers Stadium at the Swamp. Matthew Judon, been going back and forth with the Patriots in the NFL for a few weeks, trying to restructure his contract, maybe get a contract extension. Here you're seeing a look at number 99 back in his days at WB. Now one less 9, but plenty of more zeros at the end of his contract. Now, Matt, tell us about that, the latest revision of his contract with the New England Patriots.
Yeah, as you said, it's a revision, not necessarily an extension yet. I think that's going to come later on. I think this was more so a deal done in good faith. He restructured his deal. He was only due about $2 million in guaranteed money this year, but now it's up to $14 million, or it's $14 million guaranteed, and he can get up to about $18.5 million guaranteed if he hits all of his incentives. So like I said before, I feel like this is a deal of good faith. If he lives up to the money that they gave him this season, and that he performs well like he has the past 2 seasons, that they're very likely to give him the long-term deal that he was hoping to get this offseason. But it was a little odd because Rob Gronkowski of the Patriots spoke out about the whole deal, negotiating and everything itself, because he said that he's never really seen a situation like this in New England. And I think that just really speaks to the unique relationship that Matthew Judon has with Bill Belichick, that he's even spoken about himself, and that I feel that this was more so done out of loyalty to each other, and that Judon's going to live up to what he was hoping to get after this season by just performing well and just making the Patriots feel that they gave him the money that he deserved.
Yeah, and it does seem like that's the case for the New England Patriots, a team that in the past has particularly said the skill players, you think about quarterbacks like Tom Brady, hey, take a little bit less money on this particular contract that allows us to open up more funds to go bring in better players at other positions and fortify this team. And perhaps that's their vision for Matthew Judon. He's one of those players that helps you fortify that New England Patriots team. 28 sacks over the last 2 seasons since signing with New England in 2021, including a career year a year ago. 15.5 sacks compared to the 12.5 in his first season. That is tied for 4th most in the league over the last 2 years, and so his contract now upwards of $18 million with incentives over the next couple seasons. And Matt, what Judon had even said, he told Boston.com, quote, "I think it represents the way that they want to keep me around here or keep me happy, or they're just representing what they see, that they see what I did and they appreciate it for the organization." They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to budge. They could have said, sign this and that's what you're going to do, but they helped me out so I can help the team out. So definitely loyalty playing a role in that. In Ann Arbor, Donovan Edwards continuing to be a point of a conversation for the Michigan Wolverines, and certainly someone that we are focusing on here in West Bloomfield as one of our great recent alums and expected to be a big part of that offense at the University of Michigan. But he's already setting his sights at the next level as well, Matt.
Yeah, he did an interview with Preferred Walk-On this past week, and it was a lot of interesting stuff. He even noted on his time at West Bloomfield several times and how it affected him at the next level at Michigan. He spoke on how he was the guy at West Bloomfield starting from his sophomore year on. So when he got to Michigan, it was a bit of an adjustment for him, having to be behind guys like Hassan Haskins and Blake Corum, and how it just helped him, develop patience and develop that next man up mentality that he had to always be ready for his opportunity and just be able to perform at his best. And he even spoke on how he chose Michigan because it reminded him a lot of the situation that he came into at West Bloomfield, where, they weren't expected to necessarily do that much, or nobody was really expecting them to be like in the upper echelon of talent and caliber and beating these great teams. And now, similar to how he wrapped things up at West Bloomfield, they're expected to be up there for the championship.
Yeah, with Blake Corum coming off a major injury himself, it seems that he's also healthy and certainly going to get a lot of those reps at the running back position. But what benefits Donovan Edwards is that he's not only able to be a prolific running back and has a great offensive line in front of him there in Ann Arbor, which certainly, knowing the way that Donovan plays ball, sets him up to have a huge season if he is going to be that primary ball handler. But they can also send him outside the tackles, whether it's in motion out of a 2 running back system or simply lining him up as a wide receiver or a slot receiver. That could also be something that we should really expect to see a lot more often out of Jim Harbaugh's offense this season.
Yeah, he spoke on how versatile his game is itself, how he can be one of the best receiving backs in the country. And as you noted on his health, he's healthy at this point, and he said that's one of his biggest goals this season. So just make it through the entire season healthy, because that's something he's yet to do at the college level. And he said that factors in with Blake Corum too, and how splitting reps 50-50 can help keep them both healthy as they try to get to the next level and perform at the high level in the NFL as well.
Yeah, one of the emphases of that interview that he did, or of recent interviews he's done, has been him saying that he wants to revolutionize what it means to be a running back in the game of football, not just at Michigan, but at the next level as well, and be that revolutionary running back. Whether or not that revolutionary title is going to be something that people end up saying about Donovan Edwards at the end of his career, it's something up for question. I can kind of see him in more of a role of the next evolution of a guy like Darren Sproles, or even someone we're going to be seeing here in Detroit, in the Detroit area, and Jahmyr Gibbs going forward, kind of in that model. And certainly you would think if Jahmyr Gibbs has a boom season in that running back, wide receiver, kind of offensive weapon role in Detroit, that could really benefit Donovan Edwards should he decide to leave Michigan after his junior season, when he's first eligible to go to the NFL draft.
Yeah, from what I gathered from that interview, it seems like if he gets the opportunity, he will very much be at the NFL the next year, and he feels very confident in his game at the next level. He even said that he feels that he can be one of the most prolific running backs to ever play the game, and likened his ability to that of Walter Payton and Barry Sanders. And I feel if he stays healthy and is able to get through the season without any injuries to hinder him, he can very much be drafted very high in the NFL draft.
Yeah, another former Laker, another Laker alum we can expect to see at the NFL draft this year getting his name called is Trey Mosley, wide receiver for the Michigan State Spartans. And he's expected to have a big year. His nickname, Mr. Reliable, in the Michigan State system, and was certainly that at West Bloomfield. Also, Dylan Tatum in his sophomore year at Michigan State, also expected to have an increased role in Mel Tucker's defense and Scotty Hazelton's defense. A secondary that really could use some help. We have some news from those two out of East Lansing.
Yeah, everything I've seen so far this offseason regarding Trey Mosley is that he's established himself as the clear-cut number one for Michigan State, and it's not really a matter of who's going to be the number one receiver, but who's going to be the receiver after Trey Mosley on the depth chart. And I would expect him to improve upon a very solid season last year with an increased role and just a dramatically increased output this year as well.
And while we have that picture up there, Matt and Jared, if we can go back to that at Master Control. There's Trey Mosley. He's was part of the unveiling of MSU's new alternative uniforms for the season. This is their Shadows uniform, black uniform with white lettering and some darker green trim on the helmet, as well as a green Spartan logo on that black helmet. I want to get your opinion on these. I love these jerseys. I'm not really a big guy on the alternative black jerseys that so many teams play into because it seems a bit cliche at this point. But going off the theme of Thy Shadows, which is a callback to the MSU alma mater song, I love these uniforms. I think they're going to look great at several different games this year. They're expected to be used. What's your opinion on this, especially with Trey Mosley in the 1-7?
Yeah, I think these uniforms are very sharp. As a Michigan fan, I typically don't like Michigan State uniforms, but these are actually, compared to a lot of the other alternate uniforms that they've put out recently, I feel that these are great uniforms, and I think that they'll look even better on the field, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up wearing them under the lights at some point this year, whether it's at Ford Field when they have that night game with Penn State or even against Michigan under the lights.
Yeah, 7:30 kickoff against the Michigan Wolverines at Spartan Stadium in October. Wouldn't be too surprised to see the Spartans in these all-black Shadows uniforms, and then the Michigan Wolverines coming in their all-white uniforms with their iconic blue winged wheel helmet as well. Also, West Bloomfield Lakers making news in the local headlines over the last couple of weeks. Last week at the OAA Football Media Day, they were ranked #1 in the preseason poll for the OAA Red Division. That's the coaches poll, receiving 2 first-place votes in that ranking, with Clarkston coming in at #2, Lake Orion at #3, Rochester Adams at #4, Rochester Hills, Stony Creek at 5, and Oxford High School rounding out the top 6, the full rankings in the OAA Red Division. But that's not the only place the Lakers are ranked very high coming into the preseason. Once again this year, even with the losses they've had, particularly in the trenches and on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think that they're going to be tremendous this year. As the old saying goes, defense wins championship. And even though they lost a lot of faces up front on the offensive line and on offense, there's still that stout defense that they had last year coming back with experienced players in the secondary and both on the front 7. So I feel that the defense will be able to help lead the Lakers to another tremendous season and hopefully another OAA Red title.
Yeah, another prep sports authority in our local area, the D-Zone, releasing their top 100 rankings, or at least the first 10 of their top 100 rankings for 2023 and the 2024 season. Belleville, a national top 25 ranked team at #25 in the nation. Of course, the #1 team, a familiar foe for the Lakers, both at #2 and #3. The team that knocked the Lakers out last season in the first round of the playoffs in that heartbreaker at West Bloomfield High School. Cass Tech beginning the season, the Technicians at #2. And someone we'll see at home at West Bloomfield later on in the season, Southfield A&T, a loaded Warriors team led by Isaiah Zeke Marshall, a 2,500 plus passing yards quarterback, a guy that ran for 1,000 yards also and over 30 touchdowns overall last season, both in the air and on the ground. They're coming in at #3. West Bloomfield #5, in between De La Salle at #4 and Caledonia at #6, but right there in the top 10 once again to begin the season. So a lot of hype behind the Lakers. They're returning their quarterback in Rick Nance. They have one of the most underrated players, I believe, in the state of Michigan in running back Josh Tate. They are loaded at the wide receiver position, bringing in Cam Flowers, bringing in Nigel Dunton, transferring in from Southfield A&T, and young guys coming up in the system like Elijah Durham. And certainly you look at their defense, with a strong front led by Brandon Davis Swain and 3 returning linebackers in Kari Jackson heading to Penn State, and then Montel Johnson, a commit to Rutgers, and that secondary led by Jameer Benjamin and Blaze Rowe, both going to Division I schools, with Benjamin committing recently to UCLA and Bryce Rowe, committed to Central Michigan. So a lot of hope behind this Lakers team. They kick off their season in just a couple weeks. In fact, 2 weeks from today, August 24th at 7 o'clock at the Zenith Prep Kickoff Classic. We'll have coverage of the Lakers games from all throughout the season every single week on Civic Center TV and on 89.3 Lakes FM. Stay with us on CivicCenterTV.com for all the details on their games all throughout the season. Matt, thank you so much for being with us today and giving us the latest news.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Matt Catoni, our new color commentator for West Bloomfield Lakers football. He and I will be calling each and every one of the L Boys games coming up this season. We'll have him back on regularly here on the Splash Live. But your latest sports updates as guys like Matthew Judon, Donovan Edwards, Trey Mosley, Dylan Tatum, and more athletes from our local area make news all throughout the state, the county, and the country over the next coming weeks and months. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, we'll go from sports to seniors. The West Bloomfield Parks Connect is coming back in its new location. We'll give you the details on their grand reopening and their new location, plus some fun over the weekend at the Recreation Activity Center, at the library, and more. Stay tuned. That's coming up next on the Splash Live.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban. Seniors rejoice in the Greater West Bloomfield and surrounding areas as West Bloomfield Parks Connect is set to reopen in a brand new location in just a couple of weeks, less than 2 weeks away. On August 23rd, that is a Wednesday morning, they'll have their grand reopening and open house event at their new location, located now at the old Pet Value Pet Store location on 14 Mile Road and Farmington Road, inside the Bushes Market complex location there in West Bloomfield Township. It's their new location. The ribbon cutting ceremony will be on that Wednesday morning from 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. in partnership with the Lakes Area Chamber of Commerce. And then they'll have a full open house event going on, inviting the entire community in from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. We are working on special coverage to get out there and be out there for the grand reopening of West Bloomfield Parks Connect, which used to be located in the Orchard Mall. They had to close down that location. They had some issues during the COVID-19 pandemic, of course, keeping people out of there, keeping business out of there. So had to move those senior programs back into the Recreation Activity Center as they looked for a new location. This fell into their laps and became a perfect spot for the new location of Connect. Very excited to see Connect come back in full swing. Some activities already underway there, but their formal grand reopening and open house will be happening Wednesday, August 23rd. We'll get Kay McMahon or others from their team spearheading this initiative on the show very soon, and we are working on getting out there on the day of that event, hopefully for a live program that will be all about Connect and all about celebrating this coming back in our community. And Diane, this is huge for the senior community in our local area. For many years, they had been looking for a place for them to go for senior-centric activities. They had a place at the Orchard Mall. It was great for the time that they were in there. Of course, circumstances with the COVID-19 pandemic out of everybody's control took that away. But now, having this location coming back and already underway, a great place for seniors to recreate and continue to engage on a day-to-day basis.
That is true, Tyler. It's a beautiful thing that they're doing for our older generation. They deserve to recreate. They deserve the space. They deserve to go out and enjoy themselves just like everybody else. And it's kind of harder as you get older because not a lot of spaces are senior friendly. Not a lot of places are comfortable for our older generation to be in. So it's a great thing that we're doing this. We should do this, and it's a great thing that it's opening again for these seniors to enjoy themselves and, you know, collectively get together, talk to each other. It can get a little bit lonelier as you get older, as you know your children and everybody else is doing their thing. Everybody's busy in their jobs or with their families. So it's a great thing to give them that space where they can socialize and be together again, recreate, enjoy themselves. So I think it's amazing, Tyler.
WBparks.org is the place to go for more information on the new Connect location and ongoing senior programs already there and throughout the community that you can join in on each and every day, some of which you can join whether you're a resident of West Bloomfield or not, and have fun with those in your community here in the senior community in West Bloomfield and surrounding areas. At the Recreation Activity Center, some fun happening in nature outside over the weekend. It's their West Bloomfield Park's outdoor natural play area, open for free outdoor fun on Saturday from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. That's at the Recreation Activity Center. That's the West Bloomfield Park's building in the Town Hall complex, right across the street from the West Bloomfield Police Department and right next door to the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Also, there'll be activities inside the nature room, so in the case that you get there and it's raining outside or the conditions aren't right for outdoor play in their outdoor natural play area, plenty of activities and learning opportunities inside their nature room with West Bloomfield Park's naturalists. So go to wbparks.org/nature-open-hours for more information, or navigate through their events calendar and click on their nature room open hours happening this weekend. Again, that's Saturday, August 12th, 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the Recreation Activity Center. That same day from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. Hey, go over to the Recreation Activity Center, some outdoor playtime, and that, drop the kids off there, and maybe go over to the West Bloomfield Library right next door and check out A Person's Story, a really cool event happening here called the Human Library from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. at their main branch, again in the Town Hall Plaza in West Bloomfield. You can speak with a person and check out their life story. Instead of checking out a book, taking it home, reading it over the next several days or several weeks, and returning it to the library, you're going around and speaking to individuals and learning their life stories, opening your horizons and learning more about people, challenging stigmas and stereotypes in our community. And Dayan, you talked recently on the program to Victoria Edwards from the West Bloomfield Library about this program. It's going to be a really extensive and very interesting experience for people, and it's free for anyone in the community that wants to participate.
That is true, Tyler. It was very interesting what Victoria said about everybody volunteering. We talked a little bit about the volunteers who are attending this and trying to talk their life story, how hard it is for them and all the resources available for them. It's an incredible thing to experience, to listen to them, to learn about their hardships and the stigma they've been facing for a very long time. So I believe that it's a great experience, and I really would urge people to go and be there, try to understand where these people come from. It's really life-changing based on what Victoria said and based on what I think. So it's an incredible event happening. It's a human book right there in front of you. It will also get these communities together and try to put diversity in perspective, try to put people together, right, Tyler? So these people are learning new stuff about other people, maybe from different cultures, different religion, and everything they've been through. So it's just an incredible thing that they're doing. Also, the Human Library is one. It's one of a kind. So here's the thing: it's been going on for 60 years, and it didn't start off in the U.S., but it's happening only in Oakland County, in West Bloomfield, and in California. So it is an incredible experience that they're bringing here, so it's just amazing.
Yeah, for young adults and adults, that's the central audience for this particular event. You do not have to register in order to attend, and again, it's at the main library branch location in the Town Hall complex, Saturday, August 12th, from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. And more information can be found on wblib.org, wblib.org for more info on this event and others coming up at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. We'll take a very short break on the Splash Live. On the other side, how the Oakland County Sheriff's Office is using canines to provide comfort to people in need in our community. Plus, you may be getting some things in the mail that are scams and are looking like they're directed from Oakland County. They're not. We'll give you the details on that, what to look out for, and who to contact if you do receive these scam mailings after this break on the Splash Live.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Pure is what you make of it. It's how the hustle of the cities can change the course of history. It's the beauty of the things we create on a canvas, on a plate, or stretched high above the sidewalk. It's a patch of green or a stretch of blue, right in the heart of downtown. It's the buzz of it all, or if you prefer, it's tuning it all out. Clear your schedule and pursue your Pure in Pure, Michigan.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
And now, back to The Splash, live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live. This is Dayan Chaaban alongside Tyler Kieft. So a very amazing story happening in our Oakland County. It's probably one of the only in Michigan State and maybe nationwide according to Fox News. So there's a canine unit. It's Comforting Canine Unit that is these are the amazing puppies in the Comfort Canine Units. They're a group of 12 King Charles Cavalier, and they go around to schools and to public events to comfort people all over our county. This program started in 2022 to comfort people during the hard times during COVID and after COVID and what people have been going through. This is an amazing unit. This program, as you can see, they went to Fox TV recently, Fox 4 Tyler. These puppies just run around absorbing, as what the chief deputy said, they're absorbing all this tension, and they see these puppies comforting these people and just relaxing all these people during these hard times. They even went to some schools after some shootings happened, not to the certain school that the shooting happened, but to comfort those kids, to show them that it's okay to be here, it's a happy place. Tyler, I think this is amazing. What can dogs do? I know you're a cat person, but dogs are amazing.
Well, breaking news, I'm both a cat and a dog person.
Oh, okay.
I'm cat and dog neutral. I'm right in between. Like them both, love them both. I do not have one preference over the other, but we know from recent studies, from seeing these sort of programs pop up in school districts with local police departments, now also with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, just how effective they can be in providing some comfort or just a little bit of that release of serotonin and dopamine during the day for something that's for a good reason in our communities. Whether you need the help at that moment in time or you need the pick-me-up or not, something great being done by the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, and thank you for that report, Diane. Also making news in Oakland County, this time from the Clerk's Office and Register of Deeds. You may be receiving some mailings that may indicate that you owe back taxes, or you may have a county deed record notification, or from the Home Warranty Division. It's likely a scam. Over the past several weeks, the Oakland County Clerk's Office has said they've received reports from many residents getting postcards in the mail that have terms such as property lien holder or final notice or registration is required, with a 1-800 number to call to complete the process of getting those off of your record. Turns out that is not the case. They're not going to contact you in that way, and that 1-800 number has zero connection whatsoever to the Oakland County Clerk's Office. If you see one of these mailings, consider it a big red flag. Do not call the numbers. Do not engage with these individuals. Call the Oakland County Clerk's Office at 248-858-0651 or send them an email at deeds@oakgov.com. Better to be safe than sorry, even if you do believe that the letter you're receiving is not one of these, but is rather a legitimate letter. If you're not entirely sure, go ahead and give the clerk's office a call, 248-858-0651. The worst case that's going to happen is they're going to tell you, yes, this is in fact legitimate, and they're going to help you through what you need to go through on the phone and probably direct you to come into their office in Pontiac. Finally, for this edition of the program, the Michigan Secretary of State's office has put forth a new effort to help you protect your children online. Absolutely free. It's called the Protect My Child effort. ProtectMyChild.com is the website. This allows you to register your kids' cell phone numbers, email addresses, social media handles, and more, and puts them on a list that helps them reduce the number of targeted ads or inappropriate content that comes into their inbox or on their social media feed, in partnership with these different outlets and the Michigan Secretary of State's office, as well as federal outlets as well. Again, you can get more information on protectmichild.com and register all your kids' information online as needed. And that will help your kids, especially as they continue through the last weeks of the summer on the internet, and as they're going to be using the internet more for educational purposes throughout the school year. You can protect them on all these different outlets that they may be seeing information all throughout the day. Plenty of more news coming up on the Splash Live all throughout the week. You can always join us live and on demand on CivicCenterTV.com all throughout the week. For our entire team, Matt Catoni, Dayan Chaaban, Jared Clark, and Anthony Juba, I'm Tyler Kieft. Take care of each other. We'll have plenty more coming up on the Splash Live.